If you thought last season was deep,
You haven't heard anything yet.
this is boots to boots.
The moments where everything you thought you knew about yourself changes.
Because this is the stuff no one wants to talk about.
But it's what needs to be talked about.
Healing doesn't happen alone.
It happens through shared experience.
So lace up your boots.
Join the conversation.
We'll be talking to you. Today's guest served our country for nearly a decade as a United States Marine Corps combat correspondent, deploying both to Iraq and Afghanistan. His service earned him multiple accommodations, including the Department of Defense Thomas Jefferson Award, the highest recognition in military journalism.
And his mission didn't end when he took off the uniform. He went on to build a powerful platform through music, becoming a Billboard charting artist whose message speaks directly to service members, veterans, and anyone searching for purpose after transition. So please welcome the TMR, the Marine rapper.
Yo,
Raymond.
what's up? Hey, what's up? Dion and Steve, what's going on?
Oh, thanks so much for joining us. We're so excited to have you.
Hey, I'm happy to be here. I always love to be in the presence of just like legendary people, devil dogs. So it means a lot that you guys. No, I'm serious, man. That's how I look at you. Like my hero, you know how they have heroes on, you know, actors and all that type of stuff on TV. Like for me, it's like the men and women in uniform. And so to have people like that and supporters in the military and first responders around me, like it means a lot. So I appreciate you guys for inviting me.
Yeah, I feel like you were one of the first names when we came up with this podcast concept of like who is doing really great stuff in the veteran space that is doing the same thing, is a hero and is showing that like veterans can be more post-service and there's success post-service. So like you've been on our list to talk to for as long as this podcast has been going on.
And like my wife likes to call it the superpower that I never use of using that military experience and the platform we had from there to then now go into the real world and deal with civilians and me in the pro wrestling world, you in the music industry. And it's finally like, I finally tapped into it where I'm like, okay, cool. This really is a superpower. Cause when you're out, you don't want to talk about it. It's very hard to talk about because nobody can relate to it. But now it's like, once you take off those combat boots and you're going into the civilian world, that's the concept of this show, is where everybody goes through that. Yeah. Like no matter what their job was, whether as a civilian, they were working in a bank and they got to change their bank shoes to something else, construction worker, and just the list goes on. Everybody has a different pair of boots. So it's just really cool to tap into the superpower and see the success that you have by tapping into your superpower of rapping and using the music industry to its advantage.
I appreciate you. Yeah. And I feel like that's really important because it can get deep really quick. You know, leaving the military and then going in the civilian sector, you kind of like have a struggle of trying to find your purpose because you're like, I've already had the highest of highs being a superhero in the military. Where do I go now? Where's my purpose? And I feel like once we find our purpose outside of the military, that's when we could be successful. But that's why a lot of vets feel like they don't have anywhere to go because they feel like they've already achieved everything you can achieve. But if we're here to let vets know that, hey, you can just transfer all the skills that you learned in the military and pay it forward into whatever you want to do, you'll be successful. And like, that's what I do now. I'm still a journalist of sorts. I just use it in music.
Yeah. And it's working and we'll get to that point. But I think where we always like to start with our veterans is tell us why the Marine Corps. Why did you start there? And what did that journey, what was that like for you?
What? why the Marine Corps? Like, there's no other option. I mean, Steve could tell you. Is there any other?
I know that.
Yeah, I know you have to know that. I know you have to hear it. Like, hey, let me tell you a joke real quick before I get into it. How do you know if somebody's a Marine?
How?
They'll tell you. That's why all the other services, they say, oh, I was in the military, but you never hear a Marine say they're in the military. They say I was a Marine.
Yeah, I think
or I'm a Marine.
Lesson as a veteran's spouse was you're not an ex-Marine, you are a Marine. You are a Marine your entire life.
Once a Marine, always a Marine.
Yeah.
Once a Marine. Yeah, or you can say former, just so people know that you're not like actively serving, but always a Marine. Like everything I do, I still eat fast. I still dance just like Major Payne. I do all that type of stuff. But why Marines? Well, let me start at the beginning. I actually am a military brat. All the males in my family have been in the Marine Corps. My dad, my uncles, my cousins, all of that. But I didn't really use that as my motivation. I grew up like I was born in Newark, New Jersey, an East Coast guy. And then because of like my dad being in the military, I ended up moving over to the West Coast in San Diego. like in Oceanside. If you know anything about Oceanside's a military city, and I grew up just like hating Marines because all I saw was the idiots. You know, all you see is the idiots outside being drunk, the young 19-year-olds getting drunk, being stupid, getting in fights outside of bars and stuff like that. You just, because you never see the good Marines, because the good Marines aren't getting in trouble. They don't flag themselves like that, right? So my impression, especially like when you're growing up as a local by a military town, you don't really like the military because it just seems like they're causing ruckus because you only see a little 1%, 5% version of them. So I didn't really like them growing up. Plus, I was 4'11". I was like 90 pounds, 4'11", small dude. I didn't hit my growth spurt until I was junior in high school. So I was always bullied and picked on and stuff. And so like I was always like an odd type of kid, eccentric, because they're like, oh, you draw, you're creative, you like to do poetry and things like that. So like when I was growing up, if you're a guy and you did art and poetry and stuff like that, they're just like, that's weird. And plus I was small. So I like literally got thrown in lockers. I literally got trash canned, all that type of stuff. I was bullied until like I started hanging out with I started hanging out with gang members. I was never a gang member, but I started hanging out with gang members. So I was like the little homie. And then I got into like freestyle rapping. Freestyle rapping, for the people who don't know, is like coming straight off the top of your head. You know what I mean? I was rapping over loops and loops, you know, until I got to boots on boots, you know, stuff like that. You just rap right off your head, right? Stuff like that. And I started getting better and better and better. If you've ever seen 8 Mile, you know what I'm talking about. It's like all these rappers get in a circle and then they start rapping their best raps. And if you're not good, they throw you out. And then the next day you come back with the raps that you wrote, right? And then I started doing that. And then I started getting into skateboarding and biking and BMX and extreme sports and stuff. So I started getting more physical and like just like developing, but I was still a small kid. And then I got into wrestling. And when I got into wrestling, my wrestling coach was a Marine. And so I didn't know, but he was planting a seed back then. Like I got to see discipline firsthand, like off my wrestling coach. Cause I was like, man, this guy is sharp. Always has a sharp haircut, pull up in a BMW. He's just a sharp dude. And he taught me discipline very early. And he planted that seed. But I didn't join the Marine Corps just yet. I ended up, after high school, I didn't know what I was going to do. So I just went to college for like drafting, because I told you I was like into drawing and stuff like that. So I went to college for drafting. And then I was working at Taco Bell as a rapper. Like I was literally the person at the end of the line wrapping up tacos, like literally. And I'm like, I'm going to be a rapper one day. They're like, yeah, shut up, wrap that burrito. And like, so I ended up getting faster and faster at rapping, which is funny because if you hear my music, like I rap kind of faster. And then I ended up making manager, but for some reason, like I didn't feel fulfilled. And then a female recruiter came in and was just like, yo, you need to do something with your life. What are you going to do? Join the Marines. And I was like, I don't know. And at that time, it was like after 9/11. And I'm like, if I go to war, I'm going to die and all that. My mom's like, you're going to die. No. And then so like, I ended up signing up anyway, open contract. If you know open contract is when you sign up for any job. And then I went back. I said, Mom, look at me. I signed up for the Marine Corps. She's like, what job you get? And I said, open contract. She's like, open contract? You're going to be infantry and die. Go back. Go get a smart job. Because, you know, you're a smart kid. You went to college. You know, you're artistic. Find something like you like to do. I was like, well, I like to rap. Well, tell them you want to do that. So I go back to the female recruiter. I'm like, hey, do you have anything in like entertainment? She's like, entertainment? She's like, She's like, get out of my office, come back like in a couple of days or whatever. And then I came back. She's like, well, hey, Shaggy was a Marine. He's a reggae star or whatever. So you can do that after you get out. But for right now, the closest thing I got was public affairs. And I said, what's that? She's like, oh, it's like, have you ever seen the movie Full Metal Jacket? I was like, no. She's like, that's like a reporter. And then you're just going to be like taking pictures and writing stories. It's a cool job. And you get to meet famous people. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. But I didn't even know what I was getting into.
Yeah.
Then after that point, I went to boot camp, and at boot camp I got messed with because I didn't know at the time, but they had my record book, and all of the Marines and militaries know that there's a record book that has all your information, your age, your name, where you're from, all that, your home of record. And my home of record at the time was Oceanside, California. So my drill instructor was like, we know you want to quit and we know where you live. Just hop over the fence, you punk. Like, I'm just like, what? I use some other colorful language, but
were you sorry to cut you off, West Coast Marine or East Coast?
West Coast.
You're Hollywood Marine.
Yeah, I'm a Hollywood Marine. Like,
that makes sense. That makes sense
Marine.
With going into the music industry, being a Hollywood Marine.
Literally Hollywood Marine. So I ended up finishing boot camp, I went to the East Coast. I actually spent most time like away from the West Coast except boot camp. I went to the East Coast and I trained in Fort Meade, Maryland, which is an Army base over there by kind of like Annapolis and all that. And that's where they train all the journalists and film people and radio guys like, Robin Williams, Good Morning Vietnam, like that job exists. You can actually be a radio host in the military. And so I was like, oh, maybe that might happen or something. So I go to school. I flunked the journalism course. I totally flunk it because I basically didn't know how to write and put words in the right order and stuff like that, because there's a specific way you're supposed to write for news. So I do it again. I passed the written test. Then they're like, hey, we got like 5 spots to be like a radio journalist. And all you have to do is go there and pass the radio test. I was like, man, I can pass the test, because all my life they've been saying like I'm a nerd and I speak proper for a black guy, and I didn't know what that was. So I'm like, oh, I gotta pass this since I speak so proper. So I go and I take the test, and as I take the test, they're like, you failed. And I was like, why did I fail? They're like, you mispronounced a word. And I said, what is that? And because we all talk in slang and all that where I'm from, I mispronounced the word ask. You know how black people always be like, let me ask you a question. So I said ask. So I said ask when I was saying the script instead of ask. So now if you listen to my raps, you'll hear me say ask. You'll know where it comes from. It's because in school they said I couldn't be a radio journalist because I mispronounced the word ask.
Oh my gosh. So now you're like,
now
look at me. Yeah, enunciating.
Oh, I enunciate so well now. But anyways, because I failed the radio test, they're like, we have the perfect unit for you. You have a first class PFT. You run fast. You're in shape. You only weigh about 150 pounds. Right now, I'm 5'11", 150 pounds. So I'm like a Doberman, right? And they're like, we got the perfect place to put a journalist like you. We got the perfect place. We're going to send you to the 1st Marine Division. 1st Marine Division. And if anybody knows what that is, if you've ever served for the 1st Marine Division, that means they're sending me with the infantry. So I ended up being a journalist with the infantry anyway. Yeah. So my mom's nightmare came true. And that's how I ended up back at Camp Pendleton and going to overseas with the 1st Marine Division as a journalist instead of a radio host. But that's how it all started.
Yeah.
That's a good story. That was a good journey, man. And it's funny because you get to tell the stories for Marines, and that was your job. That was a part of your job. So like, how did that shape you and like the way you looked at service and leadership and sacrifice from, you went to an infantry unit. So and you didn't expect it, but then like, how did that mentality come out to like tell those stories and find out like, what's a good story to tell about this Marine or this Marine, who's a shitbag, who's not a shitbag.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, just elaborate on that if you can.
Yeah, so like when I was overseas, so my first deployment was to Iraq, and so when I went to Iraq and I started telling stories and taking pictures of these guys, I had a really good gunny. I can't really say it's on me. I had a really good gunny who was just like, you don't know if this is going to be their last story, so you have to treat them really special. These guys are the heroes. You gotta, this might be the last words out of them, and it'll be because you wrote them down and you sent the story back home to their their wife or their mom or whoever. So make sure you write it right. So basically, all I did was just kind of like it was crazy. I was like a hitchhiker of sorts, because since I wasn't really attached to the unit and I was kind of like the odd man out, I would just hop on the jump. If you guys know what that is at home, like the jump is basically when you hop on the colonel's detail. So you hop in his Hummer because he travels about the battlefield, and then he dropped me off at a unit. So he would drop me off at one of the OPs or observation posts. There's going to be a lot of acronyms here, and you know how.
No, we appreciate it because then we don't have to add in subtitles.
Yeah. Observation posts, but if you know, and so it's an observation post. So it's basically a forward base that's within the city. That's where the action is. So there's the FOB, which is a forward operating base, which is kind of like safer by Fallujah, and then where I went was the observation post, which is in the city where everything was going off. It's usually like a place that we take over, like a warehouse or a house of somebody else's in the city, an Iraqi house, and we take it over, put sandbags around it, put some barbed wire around it, and be like, this is ours now. And we kick the people out and say, go get a hotel somewhere, this isn't safe. And so they go somewhere else. So anyway, so I would get dropped off at these OPs, and then I would just look around. Sometimes there wasn't any action going on, like there wasn't a lot of combat that's happening. Combat's like 5 minutes, maybe 30 seconds to 5 minutes, if you know what it is. Like it's very quick, things happen really fast, and you're like, whoa. But so like nothing's happening. So a lot of times I had to be creative. I'm like, man, what are the cooks doing? And so I talk to them. I'll talk to the cooks and I'll be like, hey, what are you guys making? They're like, oh, we're making a stew. And I'm like, why can't they just eat MREs? And they're like, look, man, like these troops deserve better. So I'm grabbing the MREs and I'm adding fresh onions that we got from the Iraqi market. And we got some chicken and we made a stew for them, you know, because we want to treat them nice. And so I would tell the story in terms of the humanity amidst war. And so that's how I would find the great stories. And then there was a time where the thing that I got the Thomas Jefferson Award for, we went out on patrol. And as we were going out on patrol in the morning, we were really hungry. We didn't eat yet. And we were just trying to show the Iraqi army the ropes. And as we're trying to show them the ropes and moving about the city and going through the buildings and the houses and stuff like that, like we ran into an Iraqi woman, and it was crazy because her like hijab like came off a little bit. So like her face covering came off and it showed her face, and we were all like freezing. And she's like, and I was like, whoa, a woman. And I'm like, and then she's like, whoa, a black man. Like Jay was like, it's like we both saw a mirage, because if you know anything about the Marines, like I'm like literally a black sheep in there too. It's like mostly like white dudes and like Mexican dudes in the Marine Corps, right? So it's like it's very rare. Like all the black dudes are like in the army. And I'm saying this because it's more so like a funny story and stuff like that, because she was like, whoa, what the heck? But we all froze and we're like, okay, we're friendly. And then she's like, you guys want some breakfast? Basically, she told the Iraqi soldiers that. And we're like, yeah, we want some breakfast. And so she made us some naan bread. It's the flat bread that you pick up at the store or whatever. But she made it fresh off of a cow dung oven. So a cow dung oven is made from like cow dung and like mud. And it's kind of like a pizza oven where there's like fire underneath. And then so like she made us all like a big Frisbee size of naan bread. And then we got to eat that in the morning. And so I made a story out of that called saying flat bread works wonders, you know, Wonder Bread,
yeah,
wonders for you know, international diplomacy. And that was one of my best stories, because I just look for the humanity in war. And those are my favorite things, where I can be like, hey, I know you guys think that we're just baby killers, like with the rumors and stuff like that, but we're not. We're people who actually have humanity and care for each other. And, you know, not every Iraqi's bad and not every like American's bad. And we showed that we could come together and like break bread, like literally. So
literally, yeah.
So that's how I find those stories. I look where everybody else is not looking, you know, because everybody wants to say war, but you know, what we really need to look at is the love that exists in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you talked earlier about, you know, you had already been experimenting in music and writing raps and stuff. Was that something you were able to like bring as a piece of like levity in these moments to the Marines that you were with? Did you rap to them? Did you create music while you were deployed?
So when I was in boot camp, like I still thought I was going to be a rapper. And when I was in Camp Pendleton and all that, I thought I was going to be a rapper. So I was focused on writing raps when I should have been focused on recruit training. So one night I had night duty. You know, they call it fire watch. If you're in the military, they call it fire watch, which is basically you're being a security guard for all the troops while they're sleeping, to make sure nobody comes in, messes with the gear, the weapons, etc. So I was standing there, because you have to stand up in your uniform, and then if anybody comes in, you have to report your post. And then you have a book on the table. It's a green book with, you know, college ruled letters in there, and you write everything that happened. You go 2 a.m. nothing happened, 3 a.m. nothing happened. You know, Steve knows what I'm talking about. You
good
just
old duty logs.
Yeah, it's a duty log.
I do love those green books, though. I miss those. I would steal as many as I could from supply when I could get them.
We called them green monsters. I don't know if you called them that too.
I had the smaller ones just because it was better for knowledge, like for any the smaller version of it. From like when I went to machine gun school, machine gun leaders course, all that after SOI, like that was where like I wanted to make sure I perfectly wrote everything out. Like I'd have shitty notes here and then I'd recopy it just because I wanted good notebooks. Because if I could pass it down to some Marine under me at some point, then I always thought that. But they're just sitting in a trunk in my my closet now.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad somebody used it for something useful, because I didn't. It was like 3 a.m. and then me not knowing that it's an official government document, in the back I'm writing rap lyrics.
Hell yeah.
So to answer your question, Deanna, like I was writing rap lyrics, right? And it was all good because nobody was supposed to be up, right? Who would be up at 3 a.m, right? Who? A drill instructor. Hey, what are you doing? Shut up. Report your post. I this recruit. And then so like if you know how boot camp goes, you have to say this recruit. You can't say I and all that type of stuff. So I have a hard time. Anyways, long story short, this drill instructor checks the logbook to see what I'm doing, and he sees raps in there. And he goes, "What?" And it's this huge jacked African dude, huge, like the most scary drill instructor you could ever imagine. And he's all right. You want to write raps? I got something for you. And it's scary because it's 3 a.m. and he says he has something for me and just leaves after that encounter. And Steve knows what that means. That means I'm still going to get it later.
Yeah.
Right.
like waiting for dad to come home when you did something wrong from work the whole day. And you're like, shut.
It's like your mom saying, wait until dad gets home. So I'm waiting and I don't know when it's going to happen. So anyways, the next day was weapons training and stuff, but it wasn't the where we were shooting. It was just getting the knowledge and learning the weapon safety rules and stuff like that. So we're all sitting in the bleachers. It's hundreds of us sitting in the bleachers. And it's like, all right, weapon safety rules, yada, yada, yada. It's going on and on. And then out of nowhere, that big African drill instructor goes, "Rap recruit." And I'm like, oh, I know what that is. Rap recruit, you know who you are.
Oh gosh.
Get it. He's all rap recruit. Stand up. Aye, sir. Rap right now. Yada, 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 yada. All right. Shut up right now. Sit down right now. Rap recruit. So all throughout instruction, randomly, he would call on me to rap in front of all of the recruits. So I wasn't loved at that moment because I'm messing up the whole knowledge that we're supposed to be learning because all of the recruits want to go and shoot. So, but I'm messing this up, and I'm delaying it. So I got known as rap recruit. So I kind of like put rap down at that moment after boot camp, but like it was a funny situation. And then after I got a boot camp, I ran into that drill instructor in the middle of a club. So I'm a Marine at this point. At downtown San Diego at a dance club. I run into him and I'm with a girl or whatever, and I'm like shook, like I saw a ghost, and everybody's looking at me like, yo, we're supposed to be having a good time, but I saw my drill instructor dancing in the middle of the club with his shirt open like he's Scarface, and he just smiles at me and continues dancing with the girl. Like I'm like, but like he's all it's all good, man. That was just boot camp or whatever. Like glad to see you're a Marine or whatever, and then he moved on or whatever. But it was like they hated me at that point. But I didn't pick up rap until like I went overseas again. Like I took like a audio recorder type of thing with me, and then I was kind of like just rapping my experiences, but I wasn't really that good. And so like as I was writing the articles, I would start making the articles that I was writing about the different Marines. I would make them rhyme. So like if you read the articles out loud, they would rhyme.
That's cool. That's cool. Smart.
So like I would do stuff like that because you're over there for months on the end and stuff like that. So it gets boring, and there's no action, you're not getting shot at or anything like that, and it's hot, it's 110 120 degrees, and you got to keep your mind occupied. I felt like an outcast as it is because they're like, oh, this is the smart guy that's attached to the admin, because they didn't know what to do with me, so they attached me to the admin. So I was with admin, I was with the chaplain, I was with the RP. The RP is the guy who like protects the chaplain. I was with all the like outcasts. So I had to like occupy my time by writing raps and stuff like that. But I really wasn't that good yet. And then I said, when I get home, I'm gonna get a better recorder. So I went home. They said, who wants to go to Afghanistan? I said, me. I want to get out of this office. No, like I volunteered. I was like, yo, get me out of here. They're like, you really? I was like, yeah, man, get me out of here. Because I was writing stories. Because if you ever been to camp, have you been to Camp Pendleton, Steve?
Just a brief time. Like went out there for Mojave Viper for training for CAX. That was really the only time. I got to do a WWE thing with Tribute to the Troops out there at Pendleton though. And then when we went with Barry to see him, we kind of were off base, but never really got the chance to go experience Pendleton.
Well, every base has a newspaper. So I was writing for the base newspaper. So it's like writing for the base newspaper or writing about heroes overseas in Iraq and Afghanistan. I'll risk my life, please. Get me out of here.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to Afghanistan. And when I went to Afghanistan, I had a better recorder and everything. And I was in a tent. I was over on a British base called Bagram Air Force Base and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we were setting that up and stuff because I was with that time I was with I was with 2-7 out of 29 Palms. I was with 2-7, and because I was with them, we had this tent. And as I was in the tent, I was recording, and I still have that photo. I'll send it to you guys. I'll send it to you guys so you guys can put it up and everything. But I was in a tent with my headphones like this, and I'm rapping into my mic in this recorder. But that's a big problem because everybody sleeps at different times and different days and stuff like that. So I'm sitting on the cot rapping into this mic, and guys that are on night shift are telling me to shut up. They're like, shut up. You suck. You're no good. You'll never make it. You'll never be a rapper. Shut up. And it's funny now because now I love all those memories because like, that's not true. But like, it was just funny then. Just imagine everybody's trying to sleep and they're like, shut up. And I'm like, man, I just need to record this last verse. They're like, hurry up, man. I got night watch and this, that. So like, it wasn't like a pleasant thing at all for the troops at the moment while I was like in at all.
Hey guys, if this was a conversation you needed to hear today, let us know.
Like, subscribe, and leave us a review. Lace up your boots and join the conversation.
And we'll be talking to you. I kind of have a different side of that story because I was going to lead into the next question, but you already kind of answered. But for us, we had like my first deployment in 09 in Helmand Province.
Yeah.
I was with 2nd Battalion, 8th Marines.
Okay, 2-8, yeah.
Yeah, I was with 2-8 Weapons Company, and we had boot pod. And throughout the entire workup, Miller, who was considered boot pod to everybody, he played guitar. He was a country guy from Virginia, and he loved just playing music. So everybody would have a request. So he'd have to go learn songs every night because people would put in requests. So whenever a senior Marine would tell us, Boots, hey, boot pod, play a song, and we want to hear George Strait, or we want to hear that, like he would have to play it. And then even on my second deployment, we did it to Ferguson. He was like a very homeschooled kid. And it got him to open up because his name was Fergie. So we're like, all right, cool. Anytime we say Fergie, play our song, he'd have to sing Fergalicious.
Yeah.
So like he'd be sitting in the truck, and one day he flipped out on me and my buddy Barry on us, and he just let us have it. He was like, fuck you two. Why you always just let it loose? And we're like, fuck yeah, Fergie, there he is. And it's just those moments like how music can just bring it out, and like it's just fun and it boosts morale, but it just sucks on the other side of things where people are trying to sleep. And here you are trying to practice.
Well, and that brought you guys together because Miller actually was at our wedding about 4 years ago. And he was so like, I have a song for you guys. I need a microphone to sing. And he sang live for one of our dances at our wedding.
Yeah.
Which one, Fergie or the country guy?
Country guy, Miller.
Yeah.
Fergie, I know, has a coffee company. I forget what else he's doing right now, but I think he's up in like Montana area now.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man. I've been on a Yellowstone kick, so Montana's on my mind.
Oh my gosh, us too.
Yeah, Yellowstone, Landman, all those shows. Anything that's Taylor Sheridan, I'm with. But I do have a good story though. Like when later in the deployment, it's crazy because it was closer to 4th of July or whatever. Me and the Afghan interpreter were rap battling.
Oh, hell yeah. But he was what dialect was he using? He was
what, Pashto, I think what it is.
Pashtun, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but we didn't understand each other, but it was just like, when you finish a rap, you're like, yeah, word up or whatever, but it's that cue that rapper cue that you give or whatever. And when we finished, we knew we were done, but it's just like by the inflection, you could tell what they were saying that they actually meant it. So I didn't know what he was saying, but he was like, just really doing the moves and stuff, and I was doing it, and then we were just like the mutual respect, and we dapped it up and stuff like that. But that's cool. That was dope. But while we were there on July 4th, the craziest thing. So it was me. This is pertinent because it was just funny because I don't know if you heard that saying that they said there's no racism in the Marine Corps because they treat everybody like they're black. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
But it was always funny because I always end up in these funny circumstances where it totally kills racism and nobody's racist. And I'm like, yo, nobody cares about racism overseas. They're just like, hey, bro, you got my back. Can you shoot? And so like when I come here, that's why you always hear that in my music, because I'm trying to share those stories with individuals, because it's like, we don't care if you're Afghan, we don't care if you're white, you're black, Mexican, we don't care what you are. If you got, my back, you're my brother. So it was a funny situation during July 4th. It was July 4th and we were barbecuing hot dogs and all that. The British troops came over, Canadian troops came over, Afghan interpreter was there, and me, a black Marine, was there. And we looked around. I'm like, yo, don't look at me. I would have never been here. We all started cracking up because we realized it was 4th of July and we're eating hot dogs celebrating the independence of America with a British dude, a Canadian dude, and an Afghan and a black dude. Those are like the best stories ever because it like kills everything and just shows how human we actually are. And it doesn't matter. Like we didn't even think about that when we're overseas, our differences. We're just like, you're my brother. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about, Steve?
No, yeah. It's funny too, because like I grew up in Jersey, obviously not too far from you in Newark. So like I was already cultured with so many different races and identities of people. So it's like getting to boot camp. I'm like, whatever. But then there's people that have never seen a black guy before that are from the South somewhere. So it's just like, or they have their certain way towards it. It's like, no, dude, what are you doing? Like, no, like we're good. We're all here together. We're all standing on line.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite stories ever is we had drill instructor Smith. I'll never forget him. He was our drill hat, but he kind of dubbed as a kill hat as well in boot camp.
Yeah.
And I forget the guy's name next to me that was on the rack, black kid. And he took away his cocoa butter. And it was the first time
a white dude took away the
most hilarious things because every day it would progressively get worse every morning.
Was the white dude, was the drill instructor a white dude?
No, he's black guy.
Oh, the black guy took the other black guy.
No, it was a black on black crime.
Oh, no, you can't take no cocoa butter though.
It was one of the funniest things in the world because he's just sitting there every morning. He's like, this motherfucker, it's fucking Smith. He's like, I just want to, and you can just tell, but it's like, dude, just don't play into it because that's what's like making him do it even more. It's like, just have fun with it, man. And then like once he did it, like you see everybody open up, and it was just, dude, that's some of the best stories is when it's just like it comes down to that zero hate. It's like you find the different cultures and what's good in everybody and what makes everybody click together.
I loved it, man.
Yeah. So let's talk about no, I love all of this. But let's talk about then you decide you're going to get out of the Marine Corps. What kind of went into that decision? Did you know immediately? You were like, I'm picking back up this rapping thing. Like, so much of what we talk about on this podcast relates to that transition of post-service and that identity crisis that I'm sure you went through as well. So talk to us about it.
No, I mean, so, okay. It has to start when I was stationed in Texas, because when I was stationed in Texas, I was one of the first like Marines to go viral, whatever it was back then. We didn't call it that, but as you know, we have this yearly event called the Marine Corps Ball, and we always have a date, and you always want to have the best date. But that year, it just happened to be to where, all the Marines, it was a trend that the Marine asked out somebody who's super famous. So there's this one guy who asked out Mila Kunis to the ball, and he went viral. He was overseas. And then there's another girl. Her name's Kelsey DeSantis. She's a female MMA fighter now. I can hook you up with her if you want to talk to her. But her name's Kelsey DeSantis, and she asked out Justin Timberlake. So she went to the ball with Justin Timberlake. Me, I made a YouTube video asking out Betty White. So I went viral asking out Betty White. And so we all went viral, hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube. Everybody was covering it, all the entertainment things, like, wow, there's a trend of all these Marines asking out famous people. And I to this day, I still talk to Kelsey. We actually have the same birthday. Me and her actually have the same birthday. We say we're twins and stuff like that, which is crazy that I found out later. But I ended up going viral. I'm like, man, I have like a knack for this. But Betty White said no to me. She actually had to decline. But then after that, Linda Hamilton, if you know who that is, Linda Hamilton, she is Sarah Connor from the Terminator movies. She asked me out, and she went viral.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I went to the Marine Corps Ball with Sarah Connor.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty
so, and it was cool. We went out to eat and hung out in Texas and stuff like that. And I took her to the ball. And then I was like thinking, I was just like, okay, I rap a little bit, but there's something more to it. And it's going in a different direction. And I realized that you can't just have like a talent. You have to know this media stuff. But I didn't know back then what it was called. There wasn't a name back then. We didn't say social media or viral. Right. But I knew I was like good at that thing, whatever the YouTube thing was called, whatever that was. So I was like, okay, put that in the back of my head. I got to match up the rap with the social media video stuff. And then after a while, I was like, yo, I could use my public affairs knowledge and get my own camera and edit my own music videos. And then I just started doing that more and more. And then I got stationed in New Orleans. I did an extension. They're like, you want to re-enlist? I was like, I don't know. Let me extend. And so I extended in New Orleans. And then I started getting better at rapping and better at video editing and better at like mixing my audio and stuff, because that's an art within itself. And then I was just like, yo, I need to like put together like a CD or an album, something like that. I ended up doing that. And then when I needed an album cover, I reached out to Terminal Lance. And Terminal Lance drew my first album cover, and it's called Boot, B-O-O-T. So I actually have my first album that was drawn by Terminal Lance. Terminal Lance is a Marine who got out of the Marine Corps, and he became a comic strip artist.
Oh wow.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
How big, and like that was
Yeah.
it was just good because he'd take he'd make like the humor, like the cartoon humor you see in the newspaper. He would do that with Marine Corps stuff. But it's Terminal Lance, because if the Terminal Lance Club is like you become a Terminal Lance, you're never picking up corporal or picking up rank, so you're always just sitting in that rank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was a sergeant at the time, and then I was looking at a Terminal Lance comic strip on the wall while I was talking to my master sergeant, and he's like, "What do you want to do?" I was like, "I want to get out and rap." He's like, "Really?" He's like, "All right," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I gotta have a plan or whatever, and I didn't have a plan, but I just got out, right? And so I ended up just moving to Texas, and kind of like wandering around there. Kind of like I actually applied back at Taco Bell. When I applied back at Taco Bell, they're just like, "Wait a minute, you're not a regular Taco Bell worker. We're making you a manager because, you know, automatically you can't forget your leadership, you know?"
Right.
So I was clean. My uniform was clean. I'm like cleaning the material and equipment and all that. And I look good, and I'm telling people what to do. And I paid attention, and I'm like aware and stuff. So like the store manager's like, "You're a manager, bro. Like I could tell you have a leadership." Like, so he made me a shift manager while I was working at Taco Bell, but that still wasn't enough. And I ended up like wanting to drive to Hollywood or whatever, but I ended up breaking down along the way. My friend helped me out in Wisconsin to kind of like get on my feet. Then I ended up going to LA, but I ended up being like homeless and living with my girl. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is not what I got out for. Like, and then so like I ended up having like, you know, mental issues and stuff like that. So I ended up going to the VA, and I was like, yo, like I'm kind of like depressed. Like, I don't got no place to live. What do y'all got? He's like, "Oh, we opened up this thing for Iraq and Afghanistan vets. It's like a dorm." I'm like, "Sign me up." They take me there the day of, and basically they're like, "You just have to go to like yoga and meditation and all this type of stuff. But we have free food here. We have a workout place, all that, and then we'll expedite your disability claim." I was like, "What? Let's get it." You know,
that's amazing.
And then so like the expedited that helped me with school. I ended up going to the it's called the Los Angeles Film School and Recording School. It's off of Hollywood Boulevard. So I actually am a Hollywood Marine. I learned how to do the audio production, music production, as well as the music business out there in Hollywood. And so I got that going. And then the VA helped me with, if you guys are listening, the VA helped me with my housing. So I got an apartment in Hollywood. First month's rent, last month's rent, security deposit, got me a bed and a refrigerator and everything, and got me on my feet. Then after that, I was able to start to make music. And then when I was in school, and I've always been a fan of like rock music, even though I rap. When I was in school, there's this, you know, you run into a whole bunch of people, and like we're doing like a show and tell type of thing. It's like, "Hey, what do you do? Hey, what do you do?" The guy before me, he was a metal guitarist. And he's like, "I'm a metal guitarist, but I don't have a band." So what I did is I put all my metal guitar riffs over like rap beats, over trap beats. But I need a vocalist. I don't know if there's a rapper in here who could rap over like metal guitars. And my eyes lit up. I was like, "What? Bruh." And so like I was like, "Bro, I love metal." He's like, "What?" Yeah. I'm like, "I'm a rapper, bro." He's like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, we should work. Or I was like, "All right, bro. Got to figure out what we're gonna do though." And he's like, I'm an Air Force vet too." I was like, "What?" I said, "Bro, let's get it." And he's like, "I like corn." I was like, "I like corn too." And so it's like, so did we become brothers? You know, that type of stuff. And while I'm walking around school in LA, it was Obama was president at that point. And they're like, "Hey, how do you feel like actually, you know, wearing this American flag jacket?" Because I always wear American flag jacket. "How do you feel wearing an American flag jacket, you know, being a black man?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was just like, I went overseas and I served for everybody. Like, what do you mean? Like, you know what I mean? Because we already, you know, Steve, we've already learned that lesson. Like, everybody's the same, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, "What are you talking about?" But there's a whole bunch of like LA people out there who are uncultured and never seen, you know, a black dude love his country for some reason. I was like, "I love this country, man." Like, there's a lot of other Americans out there that love this country. And like, I love my jacket. And I'm just saying, I love this country. And they're like, "Well, why don't you, you know, what do you think about Obama and America and all that?" And I'm just like, "Well, I'll think about it or whatever, but I know I love this country." And so that inspired me to write my first hit called Star Spangled Banger. I have a song called Star Spangled Banger, which is like a metal rap song. And I talk about all of that. I talk about like serving for like Republican and Democratic presidents, being overseas, first responders, cops, dealing with, racism and all of that. And then it ended up being so big, Apple Music actually put it in their playlist.
Wow.
Yeah. So two veterans made a rock rap song that ended up being at the top of the charts. And I think it ended up being like at 10, but that was like just Apple Music. I didn't get the Billboard just yet, but
yeah.
But that was my first taste of that I can be independent, be a military vet, and be successful.
Yeah, no, all of that is.
I'm glad you had a good experience with the VA too, because dealing with the VA is just a headache and a hassle, and it seems like you had the smoothest transition ever with that. So I'm happy that worked out for you in that way.
It was like a Bob Ross moment, like a happy accident. You just need to know what to ask for. And so, like, I tell other vets, I'm like, man, don't listen to all the other horror stories. Just go there and say what you need. Be like, hey, honestly, like, I'm having hard times. Like, I don't have money. I'm trying to pay bills or whatever. And I just need a loan, or I just need, some money, or I just need a refrigerator. Like, my wife just needs a refrigerator, and there are other companies that are willing to donate to the VA, or the VA may have other programs and work with these veteran service organizations, the VSOs, and they may have something for you. It's kind of like a closed mouth, don't get fed type of thing. Yep. So you just have to ask the VA, be like, hey, we're just tight. Me and the wife are just tight this month. Like, is there anything? And they'll say, yeah, actually, there's just somebody who wants to donate $200. There's stuff like that. And there's grants. There's business grants, all types of stuff. You just have to look for it, and you just have to ask. So it's not necessarily, it's kind of like, oh, somebody has a horror story, so they're just going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, you just got to ask and see what they got.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that too. Like, I'm so glad that they made that transition period for you so much smoother and led you in the right direction of your dreams, because like you said, all of that happened before you became a Billboard charting artist, but now you have become a 15-time Billboard charting artist. And so you've collaborated with other veterans like Topher, and you've really carved out such a niche in the music space for veterans who want to talk about their experiences and want to talk about how their experiences have shaped their politics. And so I mean, obviously we have you as a guest on our podcast. We love you. But I just think it's such a unique thing. So talk about, earning that first Billboard award and what it's been like then to grow 15 times.
Well, it's crazy because our first Billboard actually happened through TikTok, because there was actually a Scottish singer that was singing My Mother Told Me, that old Scottish shanty, sea shanty. She was singing that, and it went viral. And so our producer, his name's Kilovic, he's actually a Marine as well. He grabbed that, he sampled that and put it over like a very emotional type of beat. And I was just like, wow, it really sounds like, troops leaving, or a wife that's just singing about her husband or something like that, or her family. So why don't we put a military vibe to that, and talk about how, we're patriots for our country, and we're willing to serve, and we're willing to do whatever we need to do for our family, our mother, our father, our wives, things like that. So that's literally how it happened. It happened so quick. It was like, she went viral. The producer, Kilovic, who's a Marine, he sampled that. And after he sampled it, we put our verses down within the same week, and then we just uploaded it. And it took off from there. And everybody was playing it, but it got taken down off of streaming and all platforms, because even Wired Magazine reported on this. They said it was the soundtrack to the insurrection, because they said anything patriotic was aligned with insurrection. And I'm just like, I can't love America and it has to be aligned with something an idiot does. I actually have a photo where I'm actually walking the opposite direction. I have proof that I walked the opposite direction of some of those idiots who did what they did. Yeah. Because I feel it's stupid. It was stupid that what they did. You didn't have to do it. They didn't have to do it that way. Like, if you wanted a tour, literally you can request one. It was so stupid to me. I was like, just request a tour, bro. Or become a politician. Like, you don't have to do that crazy stuff. So I don't agree with that at all. But while I was there that day, I called up Topher. I was like, hey, bro, we need to go the opposite direction. And so we ended up performing at a veterans event that was like a mile away. And that was like literally our alibi. We were never there. And we ended up performing The Patriot that day. And then after we got hopped off of the stage, we checked the charts and we didn't see our song on there at all. It was off. It was number 1 second, and then it was gone the next second. And what I learned from Master P, who is actually, everything Master P does, it's militant because his family member was in the military. That's why he goes by the, No Limit Tank and No Limit Soldier and all that. I learned from the OGs. I was like, what would they do? All right, E40, Master P, they would sell out the trunk of their car. They would sell CDs. I got it. We're going to sell CDs on the website. And so we were able to sell CDs independently, and we ended up making Billboard without digital streaming at all.
Wow.
That's, especially in today's days, that's freaking badass.
Yeah, we sold tens of thousands at that point. Like, it has like 30 million streams at this moment.
Wow.
But it was just, but it's from that Marine Corps, like, never quit mentality. Yeah.
Which is what we were going to ask you too. Like, I feel like everything you're saying right now is that you would like just have the finger on the pulse, right? And you're like ready to pivot and turn and tap into like what's going on in pop culture and politics and all of that. Like, immediately you're tapping into it. And I was going to ask, like, did the Marine Corps help you and kind of train you for that?
Everything I do, to when I wake up, to like when I hygiene, like grooming, everything I possibly do, I would just like, oh, I gotta be 15 minutes early to this podcast, and I'm thinking about that and everything I'm doing. You know what I mean? I knew it was like, a little bit more relaxed or whatever, but like I can't ever forget those things that the Marine Corps taught me because it's so ingrained. Everything I do. We even have in the military, and I know, Steve being a machine gunner and stuff, failure drills. It's literally saying, you failed shooting, let's fix that, clear out whatever obstruction there may be, and shoot again. Like, literally everything we do, because being a Marine, it doesn't matter what job you have. Yeah, I was a journalist, but before I was a journalist, everything I do is rifleman first. And Steve knows that. Yeah. Like, everything we do is rifleman.
It's the same in pro wrestling too, because even like calling matches, like, you're coming up with the spots. It's okay, cool. We'll say if you have this table spot, the table doesn't break. What is option B? Like, what are we doing for plan B if the table doesn't break? And then you come up with an idea and you say it out there. So God forbid if it doesn't happen, but you're putting it out to the world that it's not going to happen. So it shouldn't happen. But if it does happen, it's like, all right, cool. We'll go to this and this. And then I'll call that. And like, I'll take control at that moment. And I always try to have those audibles ready no matter what. When we're going out there, I get with my opponent, I get with the referee, I get with my producer. I'm like, if something goes wrong here and we're cut for time here, we'll do this. Exactly. And it's just, that to me, the Marine Corps prepped me so much for wrestling, where I picked it up a lot quicker that way, especially for television. And I'm sure for you, with with rapping in general and finding the rhymes, this feels right, but it could be better. And it's just, you're very meticulous in what you do.
Yeah. Even when I rap, like, when you hear me, like, I'll even sound like I'm doing a cadence. That's why I'll be like, Star Spangled Banger. Like, I'm taking that from the drill instructor.
Well, even the song what you did with Topher, I forget who else was on it, but I Left My Home, which I stole a little bit. Dude, I love that song because I was just like, oh, it's just got a good beat. It's very drill instructor. It's like you're out marching. It's a good cadence to it. But I even tried to steal from it for Rebellion last year.
Yeah.
I took that silhouette of the drill instructor in that door. I was like, is there a way to do this on the entranceway? And they had to do it in the back as a pre-tape. Yeah. But I wanted like that entrance as like, just, it would have looked so cool. And I had my vision for it. And they tried the best to make it happen. It didn't go the way I thought, but it still came out great. Yeah. But like, I just love taking that idea, and it just, we always get inspiration from each other that way. And that's one of those songs that I think sticks with me, that from you, that I like a lot.
That's on the album cover too. And like, yeah, if you got that clip, shoot it to me, because I want to reshare it, because that sounds cool. And I didn't know that that's what you got it from, but it's cool, man. Like, I'll watch your stuff and I'll see your wins, and I'll love that. Yeah, like same thing with you, like a failure drill. So like, how I would translate the Marine Corps failure drill, like the gun not loading properly, to rapping, it's like, if I forget my rhyme or something, I can go to a freestyle that I always have in the back of my head. Or if the beat kicks out, I'll go to a freestyle. So I'll be like, oh snap, I forgot that. Illiterate, gorilla mind, militant, I represent for my brothers, killing it for a living. It's that rap diligent, ignorant, IX, man / lyricist, the weapon experiment. So I already have something in my head. So no matter what, like, whether I'm like sleepy, drowsy, forget something, I already have a couple rhymes in my back pocket that somebody says rap. And if I have an opportunity to like sell something to somebody, like, hey, I want to book you for this gig, I know I have a couple raps in my back pocket to where I can convince that individual because I'm so ready and I'm so prepared. And that's what the Marine Corps taught me. They said, be prepared. So whether it's shooting a gun or grabbing a mic, I always know that I'll be ready.
Yeah. Okay, Steve brought up pro wrestling, and before we started filming tonight, you told us you have a great story about John Cena in Iraq, and I want to hear it.
Yes.
Yeah, man. John Cena's a real one, and it's crazy because everybody at that point in Iraq knew me as the rap guy, and they're just like, you should run up to him and say you want to rap battle him, like. And like, and I'm just like, what? Like, he doesn't know who I am. Like, you know, I'm a young dude, 20-year-old dude, and like I didn't want to just like run up to him. And also because it was like a salute to the troops type of night. Like, it was him and some other wrestlers, but like we're out there drinking like near beer and acting like it was a show and everything. It was like so cool. But he was going about and shaking everybody's hand and doing all that type of stuff. And I didn't want to mess up the energy or whatever. But I just thought it was so cool that like, out of all the things that these wrestlers could do, same with you, Steve, you guys get together and you go do a salute to the troops and risk your lives and go amongst these individuals, these heroes, just to show them, hey, listen, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to get in the ring. I wouldn't be able to get on the stage. I wouldn't be able to get behind the mic. And like, it was just cool to see him. It was a breath of fresh air that he was able like to walk the talk. You know what I mean? Because he goes by, you know, his character is a Marine. So for him to actually come out and be like, yo, the only reason that I'm able to make money and do what I do is because of you guys. It was amazing. But it was just it was like a, you know, a handshake type of thing and say he has love for us and stuff like that. But like, it was cool. He did a cool salute to us.
Cool. That is pretty cool that you saw him too and all that camouflage, I guess.
No, it was hard. I didn't see him at first. But, but Chuck Norris came out the same time too. So
that's badass,
that's awesome.
man.
Those were always my favorite episodes growing up. Of like, they used to do a tribute to the troops, and you know, like just to be able to, I don't know, I didn't know what it meant, and I don't have, you know, I didn't grow up like with immediate family that was in the military, so I just always knew that it was like something bigger than self as a kid growing up, and so like. Ironically now.
It was cool for me too, where I got to do that in WWE a few times. I got to be out in San Diego, and then also at Camp Lejeune, we got to do it. And it was really cool because I got to go talk to all the Pogues on the Air Wing side of it.
You mean Camp Lejeune? Camp Lejeune?
Yeah, I was Lejeune. Yeah, Lejeune.
Lejeune. When were you there? Because I was with 3-2. I was there.
07 I was boot camp 07. Now I got to Lejeune in July of I got there in May of 08, and then I was there entire time until 2011.
I was there.
Oh, wow. Small world.
I was with 3-2.
Hell yeah.
That's crazy. What a small world.
And if you know the barracks, you know it was ghetto.
Yes, I know. So we got to do the Marine Corps half marathon together this past year. Yeah. And it was fun to like take her like towards the end of the run. You're on A Street and B Street and C Street where all my barracks were for 2-8 Battalion at the time. So it was cool to see like the old armory, the motor pool, and then everything's brand new. The old asbestos barracks are still there, which is kind of cool.
That's the one.
It's a good memory because those were the good party ones of getting thrown off in mattresses off the top deck. So
yeah, man, it was broken glass, broken doors, all types of stuff because it was just so crazy. Man, RIP to that. I don't know if you guys saw there was a Marine from Camp Lejeune who just got killed in Wilmington because that's where we would go to party.
Yeah,
we would go from North Carolina to Wilmington and party out there, and unfortunately a Marine just passed away. I just saw that. I was like, man, that's crazy, man.
I just saw that earlier today too.
Yeah, we used to go out to Wilmington a lot. Our spot was going to Hooters and then going to Crazy Horse.
Crazy Horse.
Hell yeah. We never stayed local. It's like, hey, we got to get away from base because if we do get in trouble, we can get away with it. So
yeah, if you know, you know. But man, we were lucky enough to go with like, man, we always were like at least 4 deep.
Yeah, we were usually about 5-6.
Yeah.
Max. And then it ended up somebody would always disappear and you have to go chase them down somewhere. And it just Marines being Marines.
Yeah, where's Fergie?
Exactly. Fergie was back in the barracks. He was at base housing because he got married early and was dumb about it. That's another story. Marine being a Marine. But as we wrap this up, man, like we always try to ask our guests, especially with you being a military vet and also being a rapper, like if a young service member is listening right now, what is some advice that you would give them, whether it's going into the military or getting into a shot at the entertainment business?
Yeah. So what I would tell them is don't recreate the wheel. You have the wheel already. You can make the wheel better. Like you can put some rims on it. some spokes on it, whatever, but don't recreate the wheel. So what I mean by that is if you already have skills that are that you learned in the military, use all of them. Okay, I want to get into the music industry. What do I need? Okay, well, if I'm showing up for a show or a gig, I know I need to show up early. I need to be prepared. I need to be in the right uniform. Sometimes it may be, a hoodie and some jeans and some forces or whatever because you're a rapper. Or sometimes it may be like a singlet or something like that because you're a wrestler, or what do you wear? The briefs or whatever?
Yeah, I just switched back.
Yeah, so it may be the briefs or boots or whatever it might be, but like just be prepared in the right, show up on time, wear the right uniform, be prepared. They may not like the first thing that you say or do. Be prepared. Oh, you don't like this song? Hey, I got 2 more songs for you. Yeah. Hey, or you may not like me. Hey, I got another artist you may like. You know what I mean? So work with other people so you have a contact, and then so that agency or that company may still hit you up. They'd be like, you know what? We didn't invest in him, but we invested in his artist, and let me go back to TMR or whatever because he's the one who hooked us up. And it happens all the time with me. They may be like, oh, okay, I can do business with you in this way. So always have a contingency plan. And I would just say never give up, and don't take anything personal, especially with the internet. Because people be like, you suck, or you're ugly, or whatever they may say, or I don't like this, or this is corny, or this is cringe, or whatever. Like if I listened to everybody who said I was corny or cringe or it'll never work, I would never be here. Like my name's Ray, bro. Like I never hide it, but like people started to be like, oh, the Marine rapper guy, and I was like, oh snap. I was public affairs in the Marine Corps, and they taught me how to market, and I need to actually do something that people remember. They're never going to forget the Marine rapper because it just says it. So I just started going with that. So, and everybody's like, that's a corny name. That's a corny name. And then it got less and less corny the more billboards I got. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, you can think I'm corny or cringe, but I'm going to keep on going. So if you stay focused on your own goal and don't worry about the outside noise and listen to your loved ones, and then remember why you do it and your purpose. The reason why I do it is because I even say it in my music. I've said it in The Patriot. I've said it in I Left My Home. I do it specifically because I feel like I got a second lease at life. I gotta tell you the story because there's lots of times where I was, I should have been in the wrong place. There was one time I came back from a mission, and then my gunny was like, yo, stay here for a day, clean up, take a shower, because we don't get to take showers often. And I usually ride in the colonel's security detail. Like I told you, we called it jump. And so like I would sit in a specific spot in the Hummer with my homeboy. He's from Texas. His name's Corporal C. Ledsum. I'll never forget it. Corporal Michael C. Ledsum. But this day I didn't. I stayed back on the fob. They went out, and when they came back, I came up to the vehicle. Hey, how'd it go? And then I saw everybody with their head down. I was like, what the heck's going on? And they killed Corporal Ledsum. Like they shot him, and so like that was the spot that I was usually riding in, because he was like a gunner and all that. So, and he would get out that side. And if it wasn't for him, I don't know if I'd be here today. So my purpose is always to carry the legacy of these Marines, these sailors, everybody who died for me to give me a second lease at life. And anytime I get down and be like, oh man, I'm sad, I'm depressed, I want to commit suicide, I'm like, are you serious? You're not going to let the enemy win. Yeah. Corporal Ledsum didn't die for no reason.
Yeah.
They didn't like your last rap, make 10 more.
Yeah.
They didn't like your last song, make 10 more. But you don't rap for social media. You rap for your fallen brothers and sisters. You rap for your fellow military brothers like Steve. You rap for your family, your legacy, all the other troops that came before you and fought and died. That's what you do it for. So don't let nobody get you down. In the same way, if you're listening to me and you want to become a music artist, remember your purpose. Remember why you do it. Remember your why. It doesn't matter if you're a music artist or a wrestler or a painter or whatever. Just remember your why, and that will be all the motivation you need to keep on going, and nobody will ever be able to get to you ever. And especially if you made it through Marine Corps boot camp, man, like, don't be a punk. You know what I mean? Like,
No, Yeah, it's so emotional because I say that about Steve all the time, and he will never say it about himself. But like, you go out there and you perform as a wrestler and do crazy things, all because there are so many people that you know that can't.
Yes.
And I feel like that it's just such a special thing that only you two and our veterans who are listening and the veterans all over the world can relate to. It's such a bigger purpose than yourself. And so I think we all can agree that deserves to be celebrated so much more than it is today. And super emotional. I feel like I'm going to cry even talking about it. Yeah, no, it got me. You got me there.
What a way to end, right?
Yeah, no, we're so appreciative of you coming on and being able to share that message with our listeners, and to meet you finally, because we've been following you for a long time, and love everything you do for our country.
Thank you, Deanna and Steve. I appreciate y'all, and much love to y'all, man. I'm a supporter of y'all too. So, and what you're doing, at I see you on social media, Steve. So I'm always watching and supporting that, man. I got to get that clip, bro. I got to get that clip.
I'll send it to you. I got to get you to do one of my entrances at some pay-per-view.
I was gonna say it, man. Let me know what you need, man. Let's get it. We got to do a collab.
My actual song, Loud and Learn, is the one that created it. It's on Apple Music, but Front Toward Enemy is the name of my entrance music. So however you want to spin that and make it into a rap, and do that like DMX or the Run DMC and DX
Run DMC Aerosmith.
Yeah. Well, no, Run DMC did a DX theme too.
A DX one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the boxing matches and the MMA matches now. They walk them out. I could do it live.
Oh my gosh. I was thinking about it while we were talking. I just wasn't going to say anything, but that would be amazing.
I just said, I'm ready. Let's get it.
Hell yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. And if anybody wants to connect with me, connect with me everywhere on @TheMarineRapper, everywhere. Like we learned in the military, keep it simple, stupid. So it's the Marine Rapper everywhere. And also, I'm doing another thing I want to tell you guys about. I got a world premiere, if I can, right?
Yeah, go right ahead. Plug away.
So I got this new initiative that I'm doing. Speaking of purpose and everything, it's called Until the Troops Come Home, where I take the letters of family members that they wrote to the troops and I make it into a rap.
Oh wow. I saw that on your website. Yeah.
So I didn't announce it yet because I didn't make the promotional video yet. But if you saw it, it was because I was working on it. But yeah, so like if anybody is a military member that they wrote a letter to their brother or their fallen brother, or it's like their mom wants to say something to their son that they never got to say, stuff like that, like I'll take that letter all for free and make it into a song, and then I'm gonna put it out and put it on a CD. And it's gonna be out there for Memorial Day and stuff like that. So that's what I'm doing right now. I just want to just carry on the legacy of guys. And I just thought, hey, why don't I use my talent to do that? And it doesn't matter who you are. You can be military, you can be a spouse, but it's just like, hey, if I ever wanted to say something to, Private Schmuckatelli, I can say it in a thing, and then I'll promote it on my thing for free.
That's amazing.
Steve laughed because you remember Schmuckatelli.
Right? I remember Schmuckatelli. Yeah, that's always the funny. It's like just the go-to of like, it's like a private fuckhead.
Yeah,
Schmuckatelli.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's really, really cool and really, really special.
Well, thank y'all. I appreciate y'all.
We thank you for your time. Thank you for coming on. And yeah, man, it was awesome to chat with you finally.
Of course, man. We got to do something.
Definitely.
Yes, definitely. Hey guys, if you're enjoying Boots to Boots, let us know.
Lace up your boots and join the conversation.
Like, subscribe, leave us a comment,
and we'll be talking to you.